to edit the last section of Tube Ads Profit Playbook. Let's get started. I'm going to listen to it at faster speed.
Overview. So overall, our goal on average is to make more than we spend, i.e. spending $1 to make $2 back, etc. certain percent. Overview. So overall, our goal on average is to make more than we spend, i.e. spending $1 to make $2 back, etc. certain percent. And of course, then having the profit margins we want, then making the income we want, and of course, positively impacting the people that interact with our material, our ads, go through our funnel, and buy our products, etc. So, in order to do that, we need to stop what isn't working, that's costing too much money on average, not being profitable, losing money, and keep what is working, that is making profit on average. On average. On average. On average. And then, of course, that is making profit on average. And then, of course, having the tracking in place so we can see it all and know what, when, and how to refine to achieve this all. Because here's the thing, we cannot plan everything out in our minds. We have our own beliefs, models, perspective that we think will work based on all our experiences and info thus far, but may need to actually test them in reality, get the feedback, and then adjust and refine accordingly. Even the very best marketers get wrong and need to test. And need to test. And even what worked now, or in the past, or up until now, may not work tomorrow. And need to test. And even what worked
get it wrong and need to test. And even
the very best marketers get wrong and need to test. And even what worked now, or in the past, or up until now, may not work tomorrow, since we are in a dynamic environment, such as saturation, cost, AdWords stopped search ad one time altogether, so I had to find a new way, etc., restricting ads to only show in certain channels. They made a change like that. You have to have 1K subscribers and a certain amount of watch time, so then there was less people advertising, etc. So we're in a dynamic environment. Therefore, we always need to keep an eye on the key metrics, which we'll go over in just a moment, and be constantly improving and making sure that it's, okay, 1K more subscribers, etc. Therefore, we always need to keep an eye on the key metrics, which So we're in a dynamic environment. Therefore, we always need to keep an eye on the key metrics, which we're going to go over what all that means and what those are in this section, and constantly be improving and keep an eye on things. Because if I write a book on marketing in general, I call it iteration marketing. Because the key
moving and keeping an eye on things. Because if I'd write a book on marketing in general,
and keep an eye on things. Because if I write a book on marketing in general, I call it iteration marketing. Because the key is to get a great version 1 up.
Improving and keeping an eye on things. Because if I
keep an eye on things. Because if I write a book on marketing in general, I call it iteration marketing. Because the key is to get a great version 1 up, then get the feedback, how it all works, and then use that feedback to update it to version 2, get the feedback, update to version 3, etc. until it's working the way we want, making the money, profit, and impact each month consistently. So, paying for the data upfront and
each month consistently. So, paying for the data upfront,
profit and impact each month consistently. So, paying for the data upfront and refining to affect averages. A great saying that I learned when I first went to a paid media buying seminar was, at first, you're paying for the data of what works and what doesn't, and then use that to refine. For example, let's say in a campaign you have 3 age groups that you're targeting, and let's say your goal is $30 per lead. And for this example's sake, let's just say you spend $130 on your 3 different age groups, and your data shows you something like this. Age group number 1, it got 1 lead after spending $20. Age group number 2 got 1 lead after spending $30. And age group number 3 got 1 lead after spending $80. And age group number 3 got 1 lead after spending $80. So your average
number 3 got 1 lead after spending $80. So your average
after spending $80. So your average is $43 per lead for all these 3 age groups. You're taking the $130 total spend divided by those 3 leads, giving you $43 per lead. So it's not meeting your goal per se. But by pausing the age group number 3, the most expensive one, the average cost per lead is then $25 per lead, because then you're taking the total cost spend of $50 divided by 2 to give you $25 per lead. Therefore, generating leads under your goal simply by stopping the element that was costing much higher cost per lead and keeping the lower cost per lead elements going. And keeping the lower cost per leads going. And also, always know and remember, you need to start with the cost per sale. So of course, you want to look at sales, because even if the lead cost is higher, else going. And a thing to know and always remember, and keeping the lower cost per leads going. And also, always know and remember, you need to
lower cost per lead elements going. And a thing to know and always remember is to actually start with the cost
per lead elements going. And a thing to know and always remember is to actually start with the cost per sale. So of course, you want to look at sales, cost per sale first. Because even if the lead cost is higher, well, maybe that certain segment of leads is buying more on average, so a lower cost per sale, which we'll talk about all this in much more detail in a moment once we set this solid foundation before moving into the exact specifics of actually doing this all. Of doing this all. All right, so back to it, starting with of doing this all. Of doing this all. Okay, so back at it. Of doing this all. Okay, so back to the point, start with your cost per sale.
of doing this all. Okay. The exact specifics of actually doing this all. The exact specifics of actually doing this all. Okay, so back to the...
All this in much more detail in a moment once we set this solid foundation before moving into the exact specifics of actually doing this all. Okay, so back to the point, start with your cost per sale. For example, in one of Vince Delmonte's campaigns targeting similar to email lists, the average cost per lead, so in this case a lead was specifically when someone filled in their name and email after finishing a free quiz to get the answers and more info, and the leads for not a parent was 86 cents per lead, and the average cost per lead for parents was $1. So if you were just optimizing for leads, you think that not a parent was better because it's less cost per lead. But then segmenting, which we'll talk more about how to do in just a moment, and looking at the cost per sale, the not a parent that was 86 cents was actually $69 per sale, and the parents that were $1 per lead was $47 per sale. $47 per sale. And in this case, Vince was selling a product that cost $50, so this was the difference between profit and loss between these two.
$47 per sale. And in this... $47 per sale. And in this case, Vince was selling a product $1 per sale. And in this case, Vince was
$1 per sale. And in this case, Vince was selling a product that cost $50, so this was the difference between profit and loss between these two different elements, and the leads were a little bit misleading, so to speak, and really need to look at the cost per sale. So always remember to refine based on sales and not necessarily just leads. Although leads and cost per lead is just a clue, and things like click-through rate, cost per click, those can all just be clues, but always come back to the highest level thing of which we're really going for here is cost per sale or cost per customer, which again, we'll get into more detail on all these metrics in just a moment. In just a moment. Overall, testing and refining. Another great mindset I learned and I want to share is from a marketing expert, Jay.
These metrics in just a moment. Overall, testing and
in just a moment. Overall, testing and refining. Another great mindset I learned and I want to share is from a marketing expert, Jay Abraham, and Ari briefly mentioned to some degree, is that everything is a test. This mindset helps us let go of what we think will work and to be open to testing and seeing what actually does work. But on the flip side, still need the core belief that it will work, which it will work on a macro level. It just takes some refining. Refining. It's just like the saying, guilty until proven innocent. But in this case, it's testing until proven it works.
Refining. It's just like the saying, guilty and
it works, and every time that I say works, I'm really just meaning profitable.
proven it works. It works, and every time proven it works. And every time that I say works, I'm really just meaning profitable on average. Overall, overnight success stories, they may seem overnight, but in most cases, they were refining for years until they hit success. Until they hit
success. And as another note, always make sure you're looking at the correct data. So
success. And as another note,
hit success. And as another note, always make sure you're looking at the correct data. So when analyzing the data, make sure you look at the actual opt-ins and sales and verify it's correct to what's actually going on in the back end, etc. I've made the mistake of making decisions based off of incorrect data, like one time, 2 different tracking pixels for the same conversion were firing, giving me an inaccurate cost per conversion, etc. So make sure you have the correct data. And now let's go into detail how this all works so you can scale your campaigns profitably. I've roughly laid out the rest of the section into why, what, when, and how. So let's go ahead and get into it now. 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 Why track and refine? Well, imagine flying a Why track and refine? Well, imagine flying a plane and not being able to see and having no data how high you are, other planes, other metrics, etc. Flying a plane blind, eventually you're most likely going to crash no matter how good of a pilot you are. And then, of course, once you know those certain metrics, how good of a pilot you are. And then, of course, once you know those certain metrics when flying a plane of altitude, angle, other planes, weather, fuel, destination, etc.
How good of a pilot you are. And then, of course,
how good of a pilot you are. And then, of course, once you know those certain metrics when flying a plane of altitude, angle, other planes, weather, fuel, destination, etc., then you can refine based on that data. So this is just like it is with YouTube ads. We must have the data that we need and then use it to refine with. Also, another great saying that I really love from Napoleon Hill's book. Data. So this is just like it is with YouTube ads. We must have
data. So this is just and refine based on that data. So this is just like it is with YouTube ads. We must have the data at data. So this is just like it is with at data. So this is based on that data. So this is just
based on that data. So this is just like it is with YouTube ads. We must have the data that we need and then use it to refine with. Also, another great saying that I really love from Napoleon Hill's book. Refine with. And also, I want to mention another great
that we need and then use it to refine with. And also, I want to mention another great saying that I really love from Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, is that most people stop 5 feet from the goal and never reach the rewards. Most people stop 5 feet from the goal and never reach the rewards. Most people put in all this work, the rewards, the rewards. Most people that
never reach the rewards. Most people that put in this work of getting all these pieces up, the video ad, the funnel, the targeting, then when it doesn't work right away, they just quit and stop. When they could have just done a little more refining to get all the rewards, money, and business growth, etc. that they wanted if they would have just kept on with it and refined. But they don't really know how to do this step, or they don't really understand how important it is, etc.
On with it and refined. Done with it and refined. But they don't really know how to do this step, or they don't really understand how important it is, etc. Then they just stop. Then they're left saying things like, well, YouTube ads just don't work. When in fact, they do work when they're done right and refined until success. Refined until success. But I know you until success. but I know you find until success. But I know you reading this now until success. But I know you reading this now or
until success. But I know you reading this now, or in this case, listening to it now, are super committed, especially by now, so you will refine this until success. Like 50 Cent says, get rich or die trying. Die trying. Die trying. Now, nobody wants to hear refinement.
says, get rich or die trying. Now, nobody wants to hear get rich or die trying. Now, nobody wants to hear refinement.
Get rich or die trying. Now, nobody wants to hear refinement, most likely because we all think we're most likely so smart and just did everything right, and it's painful to spend money on things that don't produce positive, profitable return on investment ROI right away, but it's the truth and a critical part of the YouTube ads profitable success formula. You must be relentless with your refining. Profitable formula, you must be relentless with your refining. So with correct refining, you get all the rewards, the profit from refining and
refining. So with correct refining, you get with your refining. So with correct refining,
with your refining. So with correct refining, you get all the rewards, the profit from refining and staying persistent, and you'll learn in this section what to track, how to improve your campaigns to make sure that they're profitable, and then scaling that on a bigger scale for larger profits and, of course, larger income. The general rule, you make it profitable on the small scale, and then apply it to the bigger scale, which again, we're going to get into all in this section. And overall, just keep on refining, makes all your campaigns stronger, kind of like more legs, less easy to take down, increases the stability, etc. 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 So now, let's get into it. From setting up the system to
capability, etc. So now, let's get into it. From setting up the
capability, etc. So now, let's get into it. From setting up the system to see all the metrics that you need to getting the data, interpreting it, and using it to refine your entire YouTube ad system until it's producing the revenue, profit, and personal income that you want each month, and again, while making a huge positive impact on the world each month consistently. So first, let's connect back to the original profit formula that we started with the intro section. Let's get into it now. Get into it now. Get into it now. Coming back to the initial pure profit formula. So again, let's come back to the original most important and simple profit formula we started with in the beginning intro section. Revenue minus expenses equal profit. And for the process sake, I sometimes like to put it this way as of negative expenses plus revenue equals profit, because the expenses come first. You actually go negative, then make the revenue ideally and the profit ideally after spending the money first. Negative revenue plus revenue equals profit, because the expenses come first. You actually go negative, then make the revenue.
negative revenue plus revenue equals profit, because the profit ideally after spending the money first, because the expenses come first. You actually go
negative, then make the revenue ideally and the profit ideally after spending the money first, because the expenses come first. You actually go negative, then make the revenue ideally and the profit ideally after spending the money first. So the thing is, in the beginning, it will most likely take more expenses than we make back in revenue, thus losing money at first, but then we eventually have all the winning element combinations to scale, making the profit we want consistently. So first, we must know our average revenue per sale and our average profit per sale. For example, my SEO company, search engine optimization company, the average revenue per sale is $1,000, and we spend about 50% in fulfillment costs. Therefore, we can spend up to $500 before we break even. So make sure you know your average profit per sale. Then that number is also your acceptable break-even point that you will use when you're refining. So the break-even number is essentially where you are basically spending the same amount of money to get the customer in the first place, and we use when refining. So the break-even number is essentially where Therefore, we can spend up to $500 before we break even. So make sure you know your average profit per sale. Then that number is also your acceptable break-even point that you will use when you're refining. So the break-even number is essentially where you are basically spending the same amount of money to get the customer in the first place, and so the break-even number is essentially where you are basically spending the same amount to get the customer to what the customer pays you in.
Use when you're refining. So the break-even
Use when you're refining. So the break-even number is essentially where you are basically spending the same amount to get the customer to what the customer pays you in return, equaling out, breaking even, so to speak, and ideally making the monthly sales on the back end to make up for it and be profitable. Or, on average, you can spend less than you make back in revenue from the customer. Then again, you're making profit. Then again, you make even more now in the back end. Or you can make a lot of profit per customer acquisition on the first set of transactions, spending way less than you are making back from the customer, paying you in revenue on average, and making even more profit on the back end. Even more profit on the back end. And on the other side, spending
profit on the back end. And on the other side, spend
profit on the back end. And on the other side, spending the amount of money to acquire the customer over what you make back in revenue from the customer, then you are just losing money, and ideally making it profitable with the back end and sales over time. But this strategy can be harder to scale because you're waiting to make that profit back in the back end to then reinvest in the campaign, but it still can be done in what's known as strategy as the loss leader. At times, you lose money on the first set of transactions, then you make up that money on the back end as fast as you can to be profitable, and so on. And so on. So, I look at what are the elements and so on. So, I look at what are the elements associated with the cost, while paying, in most cases, directly for the cost per view. So,
and so on. So I look at what are the
and so on. So, I look at what are the elements associated with the cost, while paying, in most cases, directly for the cost per view. So the total views divided by the total cost. Then only so many people click the links in the ads, which gives you your cost per click. So your total clicks divided by your total cost. As much as you can. As much as you can. As much as you can. So I look at what are the elements associated with that cost.
So I look at and so on. So I look at what are the elements associated with the cost, while paying in most are the elements associated with the cost, while paying in most cases directly for the
are the elements associated with the cost, while paying, in most cases, directly for the cost per view. So the total cost divided by the number of views on average. Then, only so many people are going to click those links in your video ads, which gives you your cost per click. So your total cost divided by the number of clicks. And only so many people will fill out the form and become a lead, which gives you your cost per lead, the total cost divided by leads. And then, of course, only so many people are returning to customers, giving you your cost per customer, the total cost divided by the number of customers. Total cost divided by the number of customers. And there can be a lot of other cost per actions, where you just take the total cost divided by your total actions of what you want to know for each cost per action.
The total cost divided by the number of customers. And there can be a lot of other cost per actions where you just take the total cost divided by your
the total cost divided by the number of customers. And there can be a lot of other cost per actions where you just take the total cost divided by your total actions of what you want to know for each cost per action. For each action. And as we mentioned, we're looking for those combination of elements that give you the cost per customer on average less than what you are making with the revenue and profit on average from the customer paying you action for. And like mentioned, we're looking for those combination of
and as we mentioned, we're looking for each cost per action. And like mentioned, we're looking
customers. And there can be a lot of other cost per actions where you just take the total cost divided by your total actions of what you want to know for each cost per action. And like mentioned, we're looking for those combination of elements that give you the cost per customer on average less than what you are making with revenue and profit on average of that customer paying you for your products and services in return. Then scaling that process out on average to make even more profit. Or in other words, getting enough volume, scaling it out, spending more to make more to have the profit amount, and then coming back and refining and keep scaling and keep using on the back end for even more recurring payments and profit, etc. Etc. So make sure you know your average profit per customer by
payments and profit, etc. So make sure you know your average profit
payments and profit, etc. So make sure you know your average profit per customer by simply taking the profit, etc. So make sure you know your average profit per customer by simply taking the total number of dollars made for that customer and then dividing that with the profit and then divided by the number of customers. Or if you're new to the offer, at least doing some basic math, estimate how much average person will spend, what are the costs, and how much you're actually making on those first set of transactions. Then we'll work towards having all the profitable combinations that give us that to make the income and impact we want each month consistently.
Each month consistently, tracking it all.
Tracking it all from big to small. We'll first go over what to track and refine, when to track and refine, then how to track and refine. All right, picking back up. So we'll go over what to track, how to track it, etc., etc. So, what to track and refine. Key metrics. Let's go over the metrics, meaning the data points I track and look at when refining for profit and scale. I first start with macro, profit, and scale. And scale. Starting with, and scale. Starting with macro.
I first start with profit and scale, starting with macro
profit and scale. Starting with macro metrics. First, I like to have the macro, meaning big picture metrics. Then we can drill down into the smaller micro metrics. But I like the big picture view that I like to track and view that are most important. And we kind of already went over these. The average revenue or profit per that first set of transactions. That lets me know how much I can spend to acquire the customer and what profitability is, etc. And that's just the total revenue or profit divided by the number of customers. And the average cost per customer, so the total cost divided by the number of customers. And the average cost per lead, the total cost divided by the number of leads. And the total profit or loss. Taking the total amount of revenue that you made from the sales minus your Google Ads cost you spent to acquire the customers gives you your profit or your loss. Profit or your loss. Overall, from a big picture,
customers gives you the profit or your loss. Overall, from a big picture, I want to know how much
gives you a profit or your loss. Overall, from a big picture, I want to know how much a lead costs on average, how much a customer costs on average, how much we're making with the customer on average, and then how much profit is being generated, and how to scale that to get the volume that is desired, and how these metrics change over time, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, etc., from refining. Then, as mentioned, I like to have micro
yearly, etc. from refining. Then, as mentioned,
yearly, etc. from refining. Then, as mentioned, I like to have micro metrics. Then I look into more of the micro metrics, like in a systems process perspective, to see what's going on from the first video impression all the way to the sale. So I drill down into each, etc. Then, as mentioned, I like to have micro metrics, meaning looking more in detail. And Then, as mentioned, I like to have micro metrics, meaning looking more in detail. And I like
etc. from refining. Then, as mentioned, I like to have micro etc. from refining. Then, as mentioned, I like
etc. from refining. Then, as mentioned, I like to have micro metrics, meaning looking more in detail, and I like to look at it in a systems process perspective to see what is going on from the first impression to the sale. I then drill down to each campaign and look at these things like demographics, time, location, devices, etc. with these metrics. Again, we're all going to get into how to actually see all these, how to refine them, etc. all in this section, and I look at all of those different dimensions and filters with all of these associated metrics with those dimensions. And I want to mention with those dimensions. And I want to mention that
those dimensions. And I want to mention that Google AdWords
those dimensions. And I want to mention that Google AdWords just comes with a default set of certain things, and you can actually modify what columns and metrics actually show and in what order. So right in your Google Ads platform, you can modify what columns you can see and in what order, and you can even name it, so you can have different ones that you can switch from. Most likely I just have a main one. I call it something like all in caps like use, that way I know to use this one. You can actually save it so at later times you can use it, and as default it will show up every time you come back and log into your Google Ads account. And you can even update it. You can add more columns with different
Google Ads account. And you can even update
Google Ads account. And you can even update it. You can add more columns with different metrics. You can change the order of the metrics you want just by hitting the pencil button under the columns drop down right by the one that you saved. Or this seems to be a new feature. Not all the accounts I've seen have this pencil icon to change it that simply. The other way is you just have to modify the columns metrics you want in the order, then just save over it by using the same name you originally saved it as. You saved it as. So let's go over all the columns and metrics that I look at in order to scale profitably. The same name you originally saved it as. So let's go over all the columns and metrics that I look at in order to scale profitably. So I'll give you the name, what it is, and the calculation. So first up, impressions. This is my...
to scale profitably. So I'll give you the name, to scale profitably. So I'll give you the name, profitably. So I'll give you the name, what it is, and
So I'll give you the name, what it is, and the calculation. So first up, impressions. This is when a user sees the ad. So when stream ad is when it pops up, it counts as an impression. And on the side in search ad, when it shows up, if the user actually sees or not, just at least it shows up on their screen, that counts as an impression. So the calculation is the number of people who saw the ad. And next up, view rate is the percent of
people who saw the ad. The next up, view rate is the percent of people that viewed the ad.
People who saw the ad. And next up, view rate is the percent of people that viewed the ad. So for in-stream, it's the percent of people who watched past 30 seconds or clicked a link in or around your ad. And for search or side ad, your ad. And for search or side ad, it's the percent.
And for search
in or around your ad. And for search or side ad, it's the percent of people who click your ad, either the text or thumbnail, and go to your video and view it. So it's the total amount of views divided by the total impressions. So it's the total amount of views divided by the total impressions gives you your view rate.
the link in or around your ad. And for search or side ad, it's the
link in or around your ad. And for search or side ad, it's the percent of people who click your ad, either the text or thumbnail, and go to your video and view it. So it's the total amount of views divided by the total impressions. So it's the total amount of views divided by the total impressions gives you your view rate.
Video and view it. So it's the total amount of views
and go to your video and view it. So it's the total amount of views divided by the total impressions gives you your view rate. Give you your view rate. Next up, views. So for
So it's the total amount of views divided by the total impressions gives you your view rate. Next up, views.
So it's the total amount of views divided by the total impressions gives you your view rate. Next up, views. So for in-stream ad, a view is counted if a user watches past 30 seconds or interacts with your ad, such as clicking the link in your ad or around your ad. For search and side ads, a view is counted when someone clicks the link and lands on the video watch page and begins watching the video. So the calculation here is just total number of views gives you your view count. Gives you your view count. View count. And then we have average cost per view, or average CPV. This is the average cost
video watch page and begins watching the video. So the calculation here is just total number of views gives you your view count. And then we have
average cost per view, or average CPV. This is the average cost per view that you pay. So it's just the total cost divided by the total number of views gives you your average cost per view. Average cost per view. Gives you your average cost per view. And then you have your cost. So this is the
gives you your average cost per view. And then you have your cost
per view. And then you have your cost. So this is the amount of money spent. So the calculation is just the total cost spent, gives you your cost. Then we have click-through rate, also known as CTR. Click-through rate is the percent of people that click the link in or around your ad. And a thing to note, it's not used and counted for side and search ads, only in stream ads. Basically, the view rate is the same as your click-through rate for search and side ads. So this is calculated by the number of clicks divided by the number of impressions. Gives you your click-through rate. Gives you your click-through rate. And of course, clicks. This is your total number of clicks of any people clicking the link in or around your ad.
Divided by the number of impressions. Gives you your click-through rate. And of course, clicks.
Impressions. Gives you your click-through rate. And of course, clicks. This is your total number of clicks of any people clicking the link in or around your ad. And again, this is not used and counted for side and search ads, only in stream ads. The calculation here is just the total number of people who click the link in or around your ad. Total number of people who click a link in or around your ad gives you your clicks, and then the average cost.
It's just the total number of people who clicked a link in or around your ad. And the calculation here is just the total number of people. Total number of people who clicked a link in or around your ad gives who clicked a link in or around your ad. Gives you your click, gives you your clicks, and link in or around your ad. Gives you your clicks, and then the average cost per
link in or around your ad. Gives you your clicks, and then gives you your clicks, and then the average cost per click. So that's just the average amount you pay for a click. Again, this is not used counted for side and search ads, only in stream ads. So this is the total cost, your average cost in your ad. And then you have your average in your ad. Then you have your average cost per click. So this is the average amount you pay for a click. Gives you your clicks, and then the average cost per click. So that's just the average amount you pay for a click. Again, this is not used counted for side and search ads, only in stream ads. So this is the total cost, your average cost in your ad. And then you have your average in your ad. Then you have your average cost per click. So this is the average amount you pay for a click. And no, this is not used counted for side and search ads, again, only in stream ads. And the calculation is just the total cost divided by your total clicks, gives you your average.
and then the average cost per click. In your ad, and then you have your average in your ad. Then you have your average and then the average cost per click. So that then you have your average cost per click. So this is the average amount you pay for a click. And note, this is not used counted for side and search ads, again, only in stream ads. And the calculation is just the total cost divided by your total clicks, gives you your average cost per click. Average cost per click. Then you have your all conversion. Clicks gives you your average cost per click. Then you have your all conversion rate. So this is the percent of people that took action, converted, and converted meaning that fired any conversion that you set up. Clicks gives you your average cost per click. Then you have your all
Average cost per click. Then you have your all conversion rate. So this is the percent of people that took action, converted, and converted meaning that fired any conversion that you set up in the clicks. Then you have your all conversion rate. So this is the percent of people that took action and converted. So any average cost per click. Then you have your all conversion rate. So this is the percent of people that took action, converted, and converted meaning that fired any conversion that you set up in the clicks. Then you have your all conversion per click. Then you have your all conversion rate. So this is the percent of people that took action and converted. So any conversions meaning that fired the conversion pixel that you set up in the conversion tool tracking area. So the calculation is the total number of conversions divided by the total impressions gives you your conversion rate. Gives you your conversion rate. Conversion rate. And then of course you have your all conversions. So this is
conversion rate. Conversion rate. And then of course you have your
And then, of course, you have your all conversions. So this is the number of people that took action and counted towards one of your setup conversion trackers. So the calculation is just the total of all the counted conversions. Gives you your all conversions. And then cost per conversion. So this is the average cost per counted conversion. So the calculation is just the total cost divided by the total conversions. Gives you your cost per conversion. Conversion. And 3 other metrics I like to look at are per conversion. 3 other metrics I like to look at are display, impression, share. This is the impression.
Conversion. Then 3 other metrics. Conversion. Then 3 other.
Per conversion. 3 other metrics I like to look at are display, impression, share. This is the impressions that you received divided by the estimated number of impressions you were
And then 3 other metrics I like to look at. And then 3 and then 3 other and then 3 other metrics I and then 3 other and then 3 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 other metrics I and then 3 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 per conversion. And then 3 other metrics I like to look at are and then 3 other metrics I like to look at are cost per conversion. And then 3 other metrics I like to look at are display, impression, share. This is the impressions that you receive divided by the estimate. And then 3 other and then 3 other per conversion. And then 3 other metrics conversion. And then 3 other cost per conversion. And then 3 other gives you your cost per conversion. And then 3 other metrics I like to look at are gives
you your cost per conversion. And 3 other metrics I like to look at are display, impression, share. This is the impressions that you received divided by the estimated number of impressions you were eligible to receive. So the number of impressions you actually received versus what you could have received. So the calculation here is received impressions divided by the total eligible impressions. Then impressions. Then we have display lost IS budget. So this is the estimated percentage. Received impressions divided by the total eligible impressions. Then we have display lost IS budget. So this is the estimated percent of the potential impressions you lost because of your budget being hit. That way with these metrics you know if you're
of your budget being hit. That way with these metrics
of your budget being hit. That way with these metrics you know if you're actually showing up all the time and what's the reason. Is it the budget or the next other metric is display lost IS rank. So this is the estimated percent of potential impressions you lost because due to poor ad rank. And ad rank determines whether your ad is able to show at all. It's calculated using your bid, also the quality and the expected impact of the ad's format, such as view rate, click-through rate, etc. etc. Then another metric you can look at is video played to.
a click-through rate, etc. Then another metric you can look at is video
Then another metric you can look at is video played to. So this is the video played to percent, the watch time completion rate. So 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100%, and what percent of people made it to each of these marks. So the calculation is percentage of the total number of people that made it to a certain segment divided by the total views. For example, if 757 people made it to the 25% mark out of 5,580 views, then it would mean 13.58% made it to that 25% mark. Now, a little warning or note here, the watch time isn't actually as important as I once thought. I once thought, well, if they're watching the video longer, that's always a good thing. But then I realized when more people click the link in your ad, that means they watch less of the video, and that's actually better since one of the kind of goals is to get people to click the link in the ad. And I even realized that YouTube, click the link in the ad. And I even realized that YouTube, for some reason, can be seemingly inaccurate for watch time. For example, I displayed an unrelated audience, and I still had high watch times, not sure because if there was bots or YouTube left with autoplay on, etc. So it's something you can look at to determine, but
autoplay on, etc. So it's something you can look
left with autoplay on, etc. So it's something you can look at to determine, but actually the lower watch time can actually be better since people are clicking it, and longer watch time, that means they're just watching it, but they're not clicking it. So it's something to look at, but not necessarily used and as important as I thought it once was. Again, I'm most concerned with my cost per sale, my cost per customer, then my cost per lead, then my cost per click, cost per view, and all the other metrics.
once was. Again, I'm most concerned with my isn't as important as I thought it once was. Again, I'm most concerned with my cost per sale, my cost per customer, then my cost per lead, then my cost per click, cost per view, and all the other metrics.
And all my other metrics. And the thing to know here when looking at these cost per conversions is that you make sure you segment if you have more than one conversion tracking action. Because a super big thing I've realized while working on promoting Vince Delmonte's free book funnel
And all my other metrics. And the thing to note here per view and all the other metrics. And the thing to know here when looking at these cost per conversions is that you make sure you segment if you have more.
And the thing to know here when looking at these cost per conversions is that you make sure you segment if you have more than one conversion tracking action. Because a super big thing I've realized while working on promoting Vince Delmonte's free book funnel, and I already mentioned briefly in the beginning of this section, was making sure that I segment the conversion action to actually know what the actual cost per action was and not get some false data. Again, this is just if you're using more than one conversion that you're actually tracking. Because in this case, we also tracked his other free opt-ins, like he had a free quiz funnel we promoted and tracked conversions for in the same Google Ads account, and somehow had some duplicate tracking going on for the same conversion. So while promoting just the book funnel at the time, just looking at the conversions and the cost per conversion without any segmenting made me believe that was really the number of conversions, the book sales, and the actual cost per conversions was the cost per book sale, because that's all that I was promoting at the time. But in fact, that was not the case. When I really segmented it, was not the case. When I really segmented, I actually saw what each specific conversion action looked like, and there's actually 4 different conversions. It was not the case. When I actually segmented and saw all the different
was not the case. When I really segmented, it was not. But in fact, that was not the case. When I really segmented, it was not the case. When I actually segmented, that was not the case. When I actually segmented and saw all the different segments, it was not the case. It was not the case. Because when I actually
that was not the case. Because when I actually segmented it and looked down, there's actually 4 different conversions. So Google takes the total conversion, so from any conversion that you set up tracking for that someone has fired, so even in this case, I was just promoting the book, but somehow they're actually filling out the opt-in and finding that somehow too. And so Google takes all the total conversions from any conversion you set up tracking for and adds them up. So in this case, including opt-ins and double sales tracking was happening, so it counted 1,219 conversions. And taking the total amount spent, which was around 34,000, equaling 1,219 conversions. And taking the total amount
and taking the total amount spent, which was around 34,000, equaling 1,219 conversions, and taking the total amount spent, which was and taking the total
conversions and taking the total amount spent, which was $34,040, and dividing that by the conversions, 1,219, that equaled a cost per conversion of $27.93, which looks great because it was actually profitable since his average cart value in his funnel was about $30. $30. Now, if that was actually
in his funnel was about $30. Now, if that was
actually the cost per book conversion. But in fact, that's including all the different types of conversions, the double tracking in this case and the other free opt-in, making the cost per conversion actually much larger for the actual book sale that I actually wanted to measure. To measure. So just looking to measure. So just looking at the specific book sale
to measure. So just looking at the specific wanted to measure. So just looking at the specific book sale conversions, in this case,
wanted to measure. So just looking at the specific book sale conversions, in this case, conversion action named purchase book, visit from upsell from AdWords was the actual real book sale conversion. So taking the same total cost spent of $34,040 divided by the actual book sales, which was $910, gives us the real cost per book sale conversion, which equals about $37 per book sale conversion. So make sure to segment if you're tracking multiple conversions. You just click on the little segment icon up top, hover over conversions, and choose conversion action to segment your conversion actions. That way you can see the
your conversion actions. That way you can see the actual
conversion actions. That way you can see the actual conversion segment the tracking made for each conversion action for each campaign and the total as a whole, and you can segment within demographics and other areas as well, but unfortunately not everywhere. But you can definitely segment within the campaign page, the ad group page, and also the demographics page as well. You can use segmenting to see the exact conversion, again, if you're tracking multiple conversions. You can also do something called custom
multiple conversions. You can also do something
called custom made columns. So you can also make a custom column or custom metric for each certain conversion too if you have more than one conversion. That way you don't always have to segment. You can do this right in the Google Ads platform, and you can see these on like the campaign and ad group level, and so that way you don't always have to segment to see the different conversion actions. So when customizing the columns, just hit the plus new column and can add things like conversion. Then if you hit conversions, you can then segment by a single conversion action name, and that way that column will be that exact conversion. That way you always don't have to segment and you can see that conversion exactly, and you can put any other metrics and combinations within these, creating a custom made column or metric. Made metric. So we have these metrics we're looking at, and we can made column or metric. So we have these metrics we're looking at, and we can segment, and we can see custom columns for exact segment if we have multiple conversions. Overall, we're looking at the combination of elements that are going to convert profitably by looking at these metrics from a big picture macro metrics to a micro metrics, what's going on and how we can improve it and what to improve, which we'll go into exactly how to do this in just a moment. Or in other words, we're looking at the key metrics through each of these filters of these different elements, which again we'll go over into just a moment. But overall, you most likely know these elements by now. The main elements leading to different cost per conversion actions and different metrics in general are your targeting, and different metrics in general are your targeting. So your main targeting and different metrics in general are your targeting. So your main targeting
are your targeting in general are targeting. So your main targeting or trick are targeting. So your main
targeting. So your main targeting and triggering methods such as audience or different types of audience working better than others, topics, different topics, keywords, different keywords, placements, different placements, demographics within the campaigns, so different ages, different genders, different parental statuses, different income levels, and also time, hour of day, each certain hour is going to convert differently.
and also time, hour of day, each, and also
different income levels, and also time, hour of day. Each certain hour is going to convert differently. Same with day of the week. Each day is going to convert differently, and even day and time. So a certain hour of a certain day is going to convert differently than a different hour and a different day. And also locations, different countries, different states, different cities, etc., are all going to convert differently. And different ads, such as if you have different style, length, companion banner, etc., those will convert differently. And of course, also connected to your funnel, different offer design, process, influence, etc., those will convert differently as well. Convert differently as well. Convert differently as well. So now on to when to track. So now on to when to track and refine. So you want to set this all up, set up the tracking before you begin or turn on the ads, or at least before they start. And all the time it's tracking these metrics. And then when to manage and make decisions overall when you can prove with data that it most likely won't work out. So each dollar over the acceptable cost per customer increases the chance that it won't work out. Such as if you have an acceptable cost per conversion is $20 and you spent $21 and got one conversion, then it may not work out profitably, but definitely could still work out profitably. You could spend one more dollar, so $22, and get one more conversion, so two conversions. So then your cost per conversion goes down to $12 a conversion. So you have the 22 you spent and two leads, or two conversions at that point, so $12 conversion. Versus spending $60, only getting one conversion, and you want it to be $20 per conversion, it's a lot less likely to work out profitably. Profitably. And overall, you want some sort of daily refinement to at least check up on and improve. And you'll use the data, the metrics, of clues.
profitably. And overall, you want some sort of and overall, profitably. And overall, you want some sort of daily profitably. And overall, you want some sort of daily refinement to at least check up on and improve. And you'll use the data, the metrics,
and improve. And you'll use the data, the metrics of clues, the number of views, number of clicks, cost per lead, cost per customer, etc., everything that we went over. And the time frames I'm reporting, again, daily, most likely in the morning, the day after, and you can just go into your account, or you can have some sort of spreadsheet that you look at that you either put yourself or automated tool or have delegate someone else to do. You're looking at weekly and monthly as well too. And another thing to know, it's usually monthly too. And another weekly and monthly as well too. And another thing to know, it's usually not best to start campaigns on a Friday if you're going to be gone for the weekend, because it's most important to review right away and not accidentally spending money on pointless things mistakenly, or at least have your budget low if you're going to start on a weekend, or make sure to check on the weekend if spending more or larger amounts of money. Overall, you want to be checking much more frequently, at least in the beginning, when more can go wrong from either setting up mistakes, and there's more to optimize in the beginning. And remember, the more you spend, the more often you want to check. Such as if you're spending $10 a day, you can only get so much data to refine from, versus $1,000 a day, you can be refining daily, if not multiple times a day. Daily, if not multiple $1,000 a day, you can be refining daily, if not multiple times a day. Daily, if not multiple times a day. And the thing to know
you can be refining daily, if not multiple times a day. And the thing to note and to know is that conversion data comes in at least a few hours later in Google Ads. So if you spent $100 in 1 hour and then checked it, it may show no conversions. And then you check it again within a few hours later, it could show conversions. So keep that in mind when refining. Use data up to the day before, or wait a few hours if refining the same day.
if refining the same day. Now on to improving for profitability, then scale. Now we'll go into refining, how to refine and pause what isn't working and direct the funds to what is working profitably so it's profitable on average, then how to scale that up to make the income, profit, and impact that you want each month consistently. Each month consistently. So now on to how to improve for profitability. Essentially, you're looking for constraints in the system. So therefore, you need to know what your numbers are each month consistently. So now on to how to improve for profitability. Essentially, you're looking for constraints in the system. So therefore, you need to know what your numbers are from big picture to small, the cost per customer, cost per lead, etc., and know what affects all of that, all which we'll go over here. Now, some points to remember before we dive right into it. Number one, improve off cost per sale and not just cost per action, such as a lead. For example, if you think a lead is worth $5 and getting them for $10, but then 1 in 3 of those leads convert into sales, that's $30 per customer, which is great. Maybe that's in your acceptable cost per customer. Whereas within another combination of targeting triggering elements is getting leads for $1. So you think, oh, let's scale that because of cheap leads. Except those certain combination of leads may convert 1 in 100, so the cost per customer is actually $100. So 100 times 1. Just like the example I showed with you earlier with Vince's with cheaper leads but higher cost per sale with parents versus not a parent. So 100 times 1. Just like the example I showed with you earlier with Vince's with cheaper leads but higher cost per sale with parents versus not a parent. So make sure you're scaling correct
Parents versus not a parent. So make sure you're scaling cheaper leads but higher cost per sale with parents versus not a parent. So make sure you're scaling correct
cheaper leads but higher cost per sale with parents versus not a parent. So make sure you're scaling correct combination and refine based on cost per customer, cost per sale, and not just cost per some sort of action such as a lead. And then of course, no
sort of action such as a lead. And then of course, knowing your average
such as a lead. And then, of course, knowing your average transaction sale amount of revenue you make per customer per sale, and you can profit per customer per sale. That way you can determine what combinations are losing money and determine what to shut off and which ones are profitable to keep going into scale. And number two, also segment by conversion action if you have more than one conversion or have different columns for that specific conversions, or else you're going to have that all combined and give inaccurate data. So make sure you segment to know the exact conversion, or else again, Google Ads platform gives you the total conversions and kind of skews things. And number three, skews things.
And number three, skews things. And number three, remember, total conversions and kind of skews things. And number three, total conversions and kind of skews things. And number three, remember,
total conversions and kind of skews things. And number three, remember, essentially in the beginning, you're testing and paying for the data. And number four, as soon as And number three, remember, essentially in the beginning, you're testing and paying for the data. And number four, as soon as combination gets past your accepted cost per lead or cost per sale, you can turn it off and cut your losses. Most likely it won't work. Every dollar over your accepted cost per sale is less likely to work, such as you want a sale for $30 and then you spend 30 and you get no sales. Now every dollar over that is less likely to work, and then you can just manage your risk that way, because even if you spend 70 and get one sale, well, it's still a long way to go from that 30 that you wanted. So make sure you manage your risk that way. And number five,
so make sure you manage your risk that way. And number five,
so make sure you manage your risk that way. And number 5, and don't just pause all the combinations and elements of the campaign group together. Look deeper and see if there's specific elements in performing that are making the whole campaign perform worse on average to be unprofitable. And if there's specific elements within that campaign that have potential to be profitable that you can keep testing with, so stopping what isn't working and keeping what is working, making the campaign as a whole profitable. So you look deeper, you can look at demographics, locations, placements, keywords. Again, we're going to go all over this in just a moment. So again, if the campaign's not performing well, make sure to look deeper into the campaign and something you can improve. First, stopping the whole campaign, again, such as certain age or parental status not working well. You can still keep the part that is profitable, first turning it all off as a whole, which again, we're going to go over in just a moment. Overall, essentially, you're looking for the quickest and easiest things that you can just change to improve for profitability. Improve for profitability. And number 6, you want to be focusing the budget
Profitability. And number 6, you want
profitability. And number 6, you want to be focusing the budget first where it's most likely to work. So even if something got 1 conversion for $40 and your acceptable cost per conversion for that certain thing is $30, so it could work, but if getting conversion for, let's say, another state or different combination for $10 conversion and got 3 already, well, that's a lot more likely to work. So if
And number 5,
for that certain thing is $30, so it could work, but if getting conversion for, let's say, another state or different combination for $10 conversion and got 3 already, well, that's a lot more likely to work. So if already consistently hitting our daily budget and have more to spend, then focus it where it's most likely going to work, versus chasing what could work, trying to get everything at once. Everything at once. So essentially, you're just directing the budget on what is
everything at once. So essentially, you're just directing thing at once. So essentially, you're just directing
at once. So essentially, you're just directing the budget on what is converting cheaper, cost per customer on average, and away from what things are most likely not going to work as well. Then can loosen up those refining more later on as well. And we'll get into specific details of how to scale it up in just a moment as well. And ideally, we want to make sure
at least we have a few conversions before. And ideally, we want to of how to scale it up in just a moment as well. And ideally,
scale it up in just a moment as well. And ideally, we want to make sure at least we have a few conversions before we determine if it's a clear winner or not. Because if it just got 1, well then maybe it can really change. You know what I'm saying? The more data you have, the more confident, accurate it can be. Again, ideally, make sure you
confident, accurate can be. Again, ideally, make sure you at least have a few
confident, accurate can be. Again, ideally, make sure you at least have a few conversions before you determine a clear winner, before pausing and scaling things, because the data could change. Because the more data you have, the more accurate it's going to stay close to that range in the long term, versus having less data can be more likely to change throughout time. So overall, it's okay to go narrow at first. Data can be more likely to change throughout time. So overall, it's okay to go narrow at first, and then you can open up and test more as you go. So overall, make sure it has at least some sort of data to be more valid, and then it's okay to narrow at first what's converting cheaper cost per customer, then you can open that up and test more as you go. Change throughout time. So overall, make sure it has at least some sort of data to be more valid, and then it's okay to narrow at first what's converting cheaper cost per customer, then you can open that up and test. So overall, it's okay to go narrow at first, and then you can open up and test more as you go. So overall, make sure it has at least some sort of data to be more valid, and then it's okay to narrow at first what's converting cheaper cost per customer, then you can open that up and test more as you go. As you go. And number 7, there's always going to be some
test more as you go. And number 7, there's always going to be some sort of overlap.
And number 7, there's always going to be some sort of overlap, because having everything separate would create just too many combinations and nothing's ever actually separate in a way, such as certain demographics. Maybe it's close to converting, and then use the day and time to exclude certain time frames where the conversion will be lower. Then throughout time, that certain element can have a lower cost per conversion because you refine some overlapping part that was affecting that, such as time and day, etc., which again, we'll get into now. So with all that said, let's get into specifically refining for profitability and what that entails. So what to improve to increase profitability? Well, number 1, your target profitability. So what to improve to increase profitability? To increase profitability. What to improve profitability. What to improve Profitability. So profitability. So what to improve.
So what to improve to increase profitability? Number one, the targeting entails. So what to improve to increase profitability? Well, number one, your target. So what to improve.
And what that entails. So what to improve to increase profitability. Number one, the targeting, the triggering, analyzing and refining that. The main triggering methods. Is there certain main triggering methods that are working better than others? Then you can dive into each main triggering method to see what specific elements you can refine, pause within each campaign. So for audiences, is there a certain audience that's working better? The affinity audience in market, similar to custom intent, etc. And then within those audiences, are there certain type of audience working better than others, such as a certain in-market audience, etc. 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 Then if using keywords, are there certain in-market audience, etc. Then if using keywords, are there certain keywords that are performing better than others? If triggering search ads to show for certain keywords, you can actually hit the search term report to see the actual search terms used in search. You can then select any unperforming or non-related search terms and exclude them from the entire campaign, or you can even add them to a negative keyword list and apply that list to all campaigns. That way, all these keywords and search terms won't show for any of your other campaigns as well. Such as if I'm offering SEO services.
Campaigns as well, such as if I'm offering campaigns as well, such as if I'm offering SEO services to business owners and for whatever reason Google Ads
campaigns as well, such as if I'm offering SEO services to business owners and for whatever reason Google Ads in the search results is showing terms about like affiliates and eBay, etc., then I may want to add those to a negative list and not show those because they're not a direct match that my customer avatar business owner would be actually searching. So then also topics, if you're using topics, are there certain topics performing better than others? And to pause any underperforming topics. And then, etc. And then topics, if using topics, are there certain topics performing? And then topics, if using topics, are there certain topics performing better than others? And if you pause any just underperforming topics that are costing way too much, and then we'll go into demographics in just a moment, how we can refine it. Even if some of these are close to converting profitably, again, we can refine a different layer to make that profitable. So also placements for stream ads.
a different layer to make that profitable. So also
refine a different layer to make that profitable. So also placements for stream ads and side ads, looking more closely at placements if you used exact managed custom added placement URLs, topics, or keywords. Versus audience way, it can show the unrelated video placements and videos because targeting the person and not necessarily the video per se. So is there groups of video placements working better than others? If you didn't manually add the exact video URL placement, to see the exact placement video, you must select all the videos, then hit view details to see the exact video. You can then download the exact video URL list and go through it that way and get all the ones that are not the right context or not performing well enough, and you can exclude those video placements for an entire campaign. Or again, you can make a placement exclusion list and you can apply that to all your campaigns, so those videos will never show starting any new campaigns or any current campaigns. And then show starting any new campaigns or any current campaigns.
and then to
demographics. Again, then with each of your main triggering methods, you can then have this layer of demographics as well, with different demographic subsets having different metrics, cost per conversions, etc. So within that exact triggering method, then there's these certain groups of demographics. There's a certain group of demographics working better than others, such as age. Are there certain age groups working better than others? Are some profitable and some not even close that you'd want to pause? And then, of course, pause the ones performing much, much worse, making the average cost per action, the leads, cost per sale, etc., that are causing them to make higher. And then you can, pause those. That way you can lower the cost per action on average and keep the lower cost per action ones going. And same with gender. If they're targeting more than one gender, is there certain genders that are performing better than others, or even the unknown category on these demographics as well? If selected to use that one as well, is a certain gender or even unknown, is one performing way worse that you want to pause, that has no hope, that way you can pause it and make the average better. And then parental status, are there certain parental statuses working better than others? And also income, are there certain income levels working better than others, and certain ones that are just way too high and have the data that you'd want to pause. Want to pause. And then device, most likely you set this up
and have the data that you would want to pause. And then device, most likely you set this up on the campaign.
And then device, most likely you set this up on the campaign level. So as a certain device working better than others, such as desktop converting better than mobile, or vice versa. And also your cost per click within each of these campaigns. Can you lower your bid and still get enough views and conversions to make it more profitable? So again, all those cost per views add up, and if it's too high, then those higher ones are going to make the average higher, and then make everything higher. So your average cost per customer, average cost per lead, cost per click, cost per view, etc. higher, the higher cost per bid. So is there any way you could lower that and still get shown enough to get views, conversions, etc.? Etc. Then also location. Is there certain locations that are working better than others, such as a certain country, or if you're just doing one country, such as etc. Then also location. Is there certain locations shown enough to get views, conversions, etc.? Then also views, conversions, etc. Then also location. Is there certain locations that are working better than others, such as a certain country, or if you're just doing one country, such as the US, then into state, city, neighborhood. Most likely I stay on the state level. And to view locations, you just hit the locations tab, then select user geographic report. Then you can drill down, such as per state, and is there certain states that are converting better than others, or some just performing really bad, they're not getting any conversions and spent way more than the acceptable cost per conversions, or per each conversion that I got, it's just way too high and not even close, to pause those and to keep the other ones that are performing better going. And note, sometimes Google Ads platform gives you incorrect cost per conversion per location, so you may have to download and run a formula for total cost divided by number of conversions for each state, and use that versus the cost per conversion they give you, and find based on the actual cost per conversion per state. For whatever reason, I would just double check that. And if you have more than one conversion action set up, you most likely have to use the reporting tool. So you go to the tools, go to reporting tool, and kind of set this report up, and then you can filter for a certain conversion action type. And then also time. Is there certain times your ads are doing better on average? So you're looking at the hour, certain conversion action type. And then also time. Is there certain times your ads are doing better on average? So you're looking at the hour. So 24 hours in a day, each hour, each different hour can convert differently, and the day, 7 days in a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, is specific days converting worse or better. And then you can even look at day and hour, so a certain day and the hour. So a certain day and the hour, because different day and hour, because a noon on Monday is a lot different than noon.
Different day and hour because day and the hour, because a noon
day and the hour, because a noon on Monday is a lot different than noon on Saturday, and Friday at 10 p.m. is a lot different than Sunday at 10 p.m. and vice versa. So actually, as you have these different combinations, the actual whole thing changes of what it is. So it's best to do day and hour. But in the beginning, if you need more refinement and you don't have enough data, you can just do by hour for all days or a whole day, because refining by day and hour will take a lot of data to fill in those points, so to speak, to see what's working and to prove out winners and losers on the exact each hour for exact each day. Each day. Overall, it's really great, though. You can stop showing your ads on underperforming days and times and certain days and times.
exact each day. Each day. Overall, it's each day. Overall, it's really each hour for exact each day. Overall, it's really great, though. You can
each hour for exact each day. Overall, it's really great, though. You can stop showing your ads on underperforming days and times and certain days and times combinations by setting the exact schedule when you want your ads to show on each day and for each hour. So once you know the day and time data, you can apply the changes on your ad schedule tab. So it's in the campaign level, so you're in the campaign. It can't be viewed if you're in the ad group level, so you're just one level deep in the campaign level. Then click the ad schedule button and apply the schedule of when you want your ad to show, and then therefore it won't show when you don't want it to show. And you can only choose 6 different time sections per day. It's kind of a limitation. You can't like do every other. You can only go up to like 6 different time zones, so to speak, or time sections. And if you have more than one conversion action set up, again, you probably have to use the reporting tool. That way you can use the dimension of the time and then filter for a certain conversion action by the name. By the name. And number 2, ads. Analyze
by the name. And number 2, ads. Analyzing and refining your ads. Are there different types of... And number 2, action by the name. And number 2, ads. Analyze
action by the name. And number 2, ads. Analyzing and refining your ads. Are there different ad types? Is there different ad types that are working better than others, such as in-stream, side ads, search ads, etc.? And within those, are people clicking the ad? Is the ad compelling enough? Does it grab their attention enough? Does it build trust and motivation? Does the video ad, does it make the offer irresistible and compelling enough? Are you testing different variations of the ad? Are certain characteristics, elements of these certain video ads working better than others? Shorter, longer, pattern interrupt, angle, styles, different direction, etc.? And for in-stream ads, the companion banner, are there certain companion banners that you're testing that are working better than others? Sometimes I've even seen no companion banner convert better. Sometimes I tested that it didn't work out, so you can test that as well. And you can test an original companion banner or add a new one. Just duplicate the ad, switch out the companion banner, different type of offer, angle, or design, etc. And to note, sometimes YouTube doesn't rotate the video ads evenly, even though it's set to and supposed to. So you may need to let one of the video ads run to get the data, then pause it and turn on the other ad if not already to let the other ad get some data. Then you can compare to see which one generated sales at a better cost per conversion. Cost per conversion. And number 3, funnel. Analyzing and refining the funnel. Are people clicking the ad but not converting high enough? Is the offer good enough? Is it compelling enough? Simple enough? Etc. Etc. And number 3, your funnel.
Per conversion. And number 3, cost per conversion. And number 3, your
cost per conversion. And number 3, your funnel. Analyzing and refining the funnel. Are people clicking the ad but not converting high enough? Is the offer not good enough? Is it not compelling enough? Is it not simple enough? Do they already want it to some degree? Can you increase the conversion from visitor to buyer in any way? The copy, the design, the offer, etc. And if you're using a page recorder, like in SpecLit, you can see what's going on, what they're doing, where they're going, where they're not going, etc. Or is the average customer revenue made large enough? Is there any ways to increase the amount of customer spends on the first round of purchases, transactions that same day? That same day, which having a higher transaction rate, getting more revenue per sale on average is achieved by either more upsells, better converting upsells, by split testing, higher price. Customer revenue made large enough? Is there any ways to increase the amount of customer spends on the first round of purchases, transactions that same day? That same day, which having a customer revenue made large enough? Is there any ways to increase the amount of customer spends on the first where they're going, where they're not going, etc.? Or is the average customer revenue made large enough? Is there any ways to increase the amount of customer spends on the first round of purchases, transactions that same day? That same day, which having a higher transaction of purchases, transactions that same day, which having a higher transaction rate, getting more revenue per sale on average is achieved by either more upsells, better converting upsells, by split testing, higher priced upsells or products, etc. etc. And how do you know what aspects of the upsells or products, etc. And how do you know what aspects of these things to change and improve? The products, etc. And how do you know what aspects of these things to change and improve? Well, basically, you just kind of got to go back with fresh eyes and rethink it all and ask questions like, is this offer compelling enough? Are we talking specifically to what the target avatar wants to hear? Is the avatar we want to target even on YouTube? Or are we tracking someone else? Is the landing page compelling enough? And how do you tell this, where the biggest drop-off are? Is compelling enough? And on average, you want to be looking at where these bigger drop-offs are, or where the constraints.
You want to be looking at where is the landing page compelling enough? And how do you tell this, where the biggest drop-off are? Is compelling enough? And on average, and on average, and on average, and how do you tell this, where the biggest drop-off are? And how do you tell this, where the biggest drop-off are?
And on average, you want to be looking at like where these bigger drop-offs are, where the constraint is, kind of like think like water, like what's kind of constraining the water from going through a pipe. Is there certain kinks, certain constraints, etc.? So are they clicking the ad on average? Are they opting in on average? Are they opting in but not buying? Are people meeting, or people not getting to the meeting, or are they meeting but not buying, etc.? So you can look at these constraints and more details you can ask, etc. And some more details on how you answer some of these things you can ask, and some more details on how
and more detail.
constraints, and some more details on how you answer some of these things. You can look at it yourself. I mean, you know it best. You can get a fresh look once it's done. You can zoom out, etc. Challenge your beliefs, your bias, because we all have these blind spots. Or you can use others, your team. They know the process, things that actually matter. You can say, what do you think of this? Or outside team can get more feedback. Look at all these different pieces I have. These all different. Here's the targeting. Here's the ad. Here's the funnel. You know, can you see anything that I'm not seeing? Or even go to competitors, test out their process. I mean, they may have thought it out a pretty good deal to some degree, maybe not. But you can go to different competitors and look. You can see what they're doing good, what they're not doing, which ones you like, which one makes sense to you or not make sense, etc. Or you can even go to other experts, pros that have tested it, can explain things better in most cases, gives you perspectives. But some cons are they don't know your exact situation, your custom product, style, timing, etc. But in most cases, you can just go to what some other experts are saying or doing, or in the best case, actually hire someone to actually look at it as has more experience that can actually tell you some different ideas, perspectives, what to change and what you can improve, and where the best kind of the time, the ROI on your time, and what's the best thing that you can do to change to improve. Ideally, you use all these points to some degree, yourself, the team, other people, competitors, etc. All the data points you can to make the best decision, what you can look for commonalities, define where you think the problem is and what is the solution, and then on to solving it. In most cases, if not enough people are clicking your ad, then it's either your offer or your ad, either not making the offer seem compelling enough, not enough influence communicated, or not engaging enough. If not enough people are converting high enough on your funnel to have the
If not enough
In most cases, if not enough people are clicking your ad, then it's either your offer or your ad, either not making the offer seem compelling enough, not enough influence communicated, or not engaging enough. If not enough people are converting high enough on your funnel to have the cost. In most cases, if not enough people are clicking your ad, then it's either your offer or your ad, either not making the offer seem compelling enough, not enough influence communicated, or not engaging enough. If not enough people. In most cases, if not enough people are clicking your ad,
enough, if not enough people are converting enough, if not enough people are converting high enough on your funnel to have the cost per conversion you need, then most likely it's your offer or design or process or communication. Your message isn't influential enough. Again, everything can always be improved, so you have to do your best to determine where your biggest constraint or roadblock is, where people are getting stuck on, and then what you can do to change and improve that.
some more on what you can do to improve that. So now on to some more on how. Now on to more how you can know what to improve first. So prioritizing you. Now on to more how you can know what to improve first. So prioritizing, you list all your ideas like in a spreadsheet or something. You have 2 columns, and like one would be your estimated impact and the other is estimated time to implement. And then you would rate each one and you start knocking out the ones that will have the most impact and take the least amount of time. Basically, you'll soon have like a backlog of noted ideas to test and you prioritize as they come. Simplicity, like targeting, demographics, audience placements, keywords, can be switched on and off instantly. So always do that first. It's the easiest and quickest to implement. Essentially, you're looking for the biggest impact things with the least amount of time and resources that would need to change them. But do that first. Essentially, you're looking for the biggest impact things that will make the biggest difference with the least amount of time and resources needed to change those. But still, sometimes big changes.
Least amount of time and resources that would need to change them. But
still, sometimes. First, it's the easiest and quickest to implement. Essentially, you're looking for the biggest impact things with the least amount of time and resources that would need to change them. But still, sometimes big changes are needed for these big impacts, like redoing a funnel, offer, etc. That will inevitably take more time, but the best target in the world can't make up for a less performing ad or a funnel, etc. So you kind of got to look at these 3 things, the targeting, the ad, and the funnel, and see which one you can improve best. Again, targeting, most cases you're going to want to improve first because that's the easiest. And then once you dial that in, if you're still not getting the results, most likely it's something with your ad or something with your funnel. And then you keep doing this until you're profitable to your funnel. And then you keep doing this process until you're profitable. likely something with your ad or something with your funnel. And then you keep doing this process until you're profitable, etc. And then you keep doing this process of refining until you're profitable. And then you'll keep doing this process until you're profitable on average.
Most likely it's something with your ad or something with your funnel. And then you keep
And then you'll keep doing this process until you're profitable on average. Until you're profitable on average. And now on to how to improve for scale. Once the combinations are profitable on average, you'll simply want to scale that to make the profit, income, and impact amounts you want each month. So what to improve to increase scale and increase the reach and again increase scale? Well, increase your budget. If you're hitting your budget daily, so if you increase your budget. If you're hitting your budget daily, so if your budget is, 50 hours a day, and you're spending on average 50 hours a day, and then even AdWords can give you a warning sometimes too, like your budget's being hit, well, then simply increase your budget, and ideally in most cases, those averages are still going to hold true, even though spending more. Another thing you can do is increase your cost per bid, as long as that remains profitable. So again, you can look at that impression share based on is it budget you're losing, some of these potential views, and therefore conversions you can get, or is it because your ad rank, which in most cases is your bid, so can you still increase your bid and still remain profitable? Again, look at your display impressions.
profitable. Again, look at
your display impressions lost. If you can raise your bid anymore because you lost some of the potential impressions and views and conversions, you still have room to go up to increase your cost per bid, or if it's your budget, either of those ones, then you can increase to get more scale. And things you can do to increase your scale within targeting, such as you can add more triggering and targeting methods, such as placements. Can you find more of the type of videos that are converting, or kind of go left field and kind of find something that's related that your customers would be on? So anything you can do, with your ad, your funnel combinations, left field and find them still be on. For keywords, can you find more related keywords or other keywords of the type of videos that are converting, or kind of go left field and kind of find something that's related that your customers would be on? So anything you can do, with your ad, your funnel combinations, left field and find them still be on. For keywords, can you find more related keywords or other keywords that your prospects may be searching for, or other topics? For keywords, can you find more related keywords or other keywords that your prospects may be searching for, or other topics or other audiences, etc.? What about locations? Are there any new locations that you can test out? Different countries, etc.? Can you broaden out any other triggering methods? Like maybe you restricted a certain age or a certain subset of demographics at a time, that you can go back and retest and kind of get that data again to see. Can you take on working an audience, etc.? And what about ad types? Can you take a working
Can you take on working an audience
and retest and kind of get that data again to see? Can you take on working an audience, etc.?
Can you take on working an audience? And what about ad types? And
what about ad types? Can you take a working audience or a certain triggering method for a certain ad type? For example, say you're targeting in-market or triggering your ads for in-market with an in-stream, etc. And what about ad types? Can you audience or a certain triggering method for a certain ad type? For example, say you're targeting in-market or triggering your ads for in-market with an in-stream, etc. And what about ad types? Can you take a working audience for a certain ad?
And what about ad types? Can
you take a working audience for a certain ad type, such as if you're doing in-market SEO, SEM services, people that are interested in that, and in-stream, can you then also target that same audience, but use search and side ads as well? So can you also target a working audience or a working trigger method with a different type of ad type, such as search and side ad, or vice versa, if you're already using search and side to an in-stream, etc.? And again, broaden out any of the combinations that you paused simply because the other combinations were working much better. In-stream, etc. And again, broaden out any of the combinations that you paused simply because the other combinations were working much better and were more likely to work in the beginning, so that's what you went with. And now you kind of have more room and you can test these other, kind of broaden it out. And all the other things I mentioned to improve your scale, to make more profit amount, more income amount, and more impact amount each month. Each month. Each month. So, a simple model to use. A simple model to use. Well, the steps are, you have your goal, your cost per sale, and how many you want per month, etc. You apply your best practices, your best variation within the time limit you have, also known as your hypothesis. You test it out, get that feedback, analyze the feedback, and then prioritize what to change and improve it. So if you're not profitable on average, refine these certain things. So you're targeting, you're triggering your different audiences, different placements, different keywords, different topics, different demographic sets within age, gender, parental status, income level, location, day of time, ad, funnel, etc. And keep refining until profitable in that method in small scale, then can increase the budget to a larger amount to scale while still keeping the same profitable metrics on average or close to it, and therefore increase the amount of cost, but also increase the greater amount of revenue, and therefore profit, and then income, impact, etc. etc. And then can find even new targeting, triggering routes, methods within Google Ads,
impact, etc. And then can find even new targeting, trigger,
impact, etc. And then can find even new targeting, triggering routes, methods within Google Ads or even other sources to keep scaling your business until you are, like what Grant Cardone calls it, omnipresent, everywhere, where you can make it profitable on YouTube and also onto different multiple channels as well. Keep repeating this process until you're at the desired income goal that you want, and or hire and or delegate someone to do this, or most of this process for you more long-term to eventually free up your time to do other things as well, etc. Free up your time. Free up your time. Free up your time, etc. So, etc. So, summary of action steps. Summary of action steps for relentless refining. Determine your acceptable. So, summary of action steps for relentless refining. Determine your acceptable cost per actions, such as your cost per sale, cost per customer, and around your cost per lead, and also what you're willing to pay to be profitable or at least break even. etc. So, summary of action steps for section number 5, relentless refining.
etc. So, summary of actions.
So, summary of action steps for section number 5, relentless refining. Determine your acceptable cost per actions, your cost per sale, cost per customer, and your cost around your cost per lead that you're willing to pay and will be profitable, or at least break even. Look at your certain combinations and pause and stop what is most likely not going to work based on either the cost per conversion is too far over the acceptable limit and can't refine anything else to change this, or spent too far over that limit with 0 conversions and again can't refine anything else to change that. And you want to be refining this daily, at least the day after, once you get the data, or when you have enough money spent to refine these combination of elements, such as your cost per bid, the device, the ad type, how you're targeting certain audiences, topics, keywords, placements, demographics, ages, gender, parental status, income level, the location, the day, hour of day, day plus the hour, budget, your ad, and your funnel.
All right. All right. So that was section number 5. Now on to the conclusion. If you want the full edited version in all the sections, then you can go to tubeadsprofitplaybook.com and you can order that. Again, I got the conclusion left, and then the book's finally done, the audio version. I'm going to go over, review everything again, and then yeah, I'll be done. So Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Make sure to like, subscribe, and view all the other videos if you're interested in growing your business, specifically using YouTube ads and the platform of YouTube to grow your business. It's Mike Piet. Talk to you later. Cheers.